Hello, Jared from Shaping the Silence here to give you an update on the current project, which is it's a dance pad for my music. I do not have a saw at my current residence, so while I was visiting my parents for the weekend, I was able to go out, purchase some boards, and start cutting away until we got the main frame completed for this project. I also cut out a whole bunch of squares here. So these are 11 1/16 inches squared. These are going to be the panels that I will step on. It will be a 3x3 arrangement on the pad down here. I'm putting some pipes in here so that I can run fog from the back of the pad out the sides and out the front. Hey, Pop. I had the first couple cuts done. As you can see, I have that and that. Unfortunately, I made this pipe a little too long. So, to compensate, I made this one a little too short. It works because this cutout here is not super precise. To fix that, we're going to actually use a tape measure and a marker this time. Actually measuring stuff. Let's do it. Okay, that was maybe the worst way I could have cut it. This thing is like screw holes for mounting into a solid surface and, you know, having it wobbling around on the floor. That was a real pain. Don't do it like this. Get the right tools. Or don't, and save yourself some money and have it be a real headache. Last pipe, let's get this put in. Oh, it's beautiful. Fits flush with the outside. So we have the plumbing. Fog will come in through here and then up, out here, and out the front. You know, assuming the air pressure and all that does what I hope it does. In the meantime, hey, got it done. That's exciting. Next step. So now I'm going to be working on getting these sensors installed. These are actually just plain copper boards that you would use for making your own printed circuit boards. I'm going to install these beneath the wood panels and then test out and see how much capacitance is made when my foot stomps on the pad, so that way I can have these sense when I'm stepping on them. Right now I'm trying out some code here. So I have the pad connected to the sensor, connected to the TNC, connected to my computer, which is showing when I touch and release it. So I can get touch and release there by moving my foot. Unfortunately, it's actually showing touched when I'm about this close to the pad and then released when I lift away. So I'm going to have to adjust some sensitivity in the code here, change the thresholds a bit, but we'll see how we do. All right, I'm getting it. Now I have all of the pads attached to the board with the copper pad underneath with a wire going through the board. So now I just need to flip this whole board over, grab all the wires, bundle them together, and connect them to the controller. And here they are, all the wires coming off of those sensor pads. Oh hey, a few minutes and a little duct tape later, I have all the wires routed quite nicely up to the top. Let's flip this thing back over and start wiring it. After painting this thing, I'm going to go ahead and sand it all. Now you can see that the paint is a little bit uneven on the squares. However, that's not important because what I need to do is get the paint in the cracks and stuff like that so that it doesn't show through the wood when I have the other things covering the pads and other stuff like that. So, gotta sand this and then smooth it all out. That way I can stick on the panels that will go on top of these. All right, now that's done, tiles are much smoother and cleaner, so when I get the vinyl tiles to stick on top of these, they should stick a lot better than they would have earlier, since it's a nice, smooth, flat surface, nice and clean. Anyway, let's get on to wiring up the LEDs. Okay, it's finally done. I've had some problems throughout with bad connections and stuff, but I finally figured out how to get all the strands connected. So the next thing is going to be getting the power connected. Now, the stance pad looks pretty good right now with all these colors going on, but they're only running at 1/5 the brightness and they're not displaying white, which would max out the brightness on them. So we're not getting the maximum output. And we can't even get close to it because right now I'm running all of this off of a little USB power adapter for charging a phone, which is 5 volts, 2 amps, meaning we'll get a maximum of 10 watts out of that. Based on the LEDs and their maximum current draw, we're going to be pulling about 55 watts, that kind of range. So in order to get these all to max brightness, we're gonna need a lot more power. I'll show you what it looks like when I try to max out the brightness of all of these lights all at the same time. Just give me a sec while I upload some code to it, okay? Now that I have the new code uploaded, let's plug it in and see what happens. Now, what's going on here is the lights were not set to display red. What's actually happening is they're all set to display red, green, and blue at full brightness. However, it showed white at first, but it started to fade out because it ran out of current. As the current draw increases, the voltage available decreases, which means that the blue and green LEDs can no longer light up. The reason why red is lighting up is because red LEDs take less voltage to light up than green and blue. So they will stay on longer than the rest of them, whereas blue will fade out first, followed quickly by green. So let's try that again. Starts out white, fades to yellow, and becomes more and more red as it goes on. How do we fix this? Well, first off, I've got a power supply. This power supply should give us about 10 times the current that we have right now, being 5 volts, 20 amps, instead of just 5 volts, 2 amps that we're getting out of this little guy. So let's go ahead, hook it up to the new power supply and see what kind of result we get out of it next. I have the new power supply hooked up. Let's go ahead and power it on, see what happens. All right, looking good. And we're having a new issue. As you can see, we start out with white across there. However, it starts to yellow as it goes along the strip. The problem we're currently having is what's referred to as a voltage drop. The resistance in the wires carrying the current through here is causing the voltage to lower as it goes down the strip. So in order to fix that, I need to inject power in multiple places throughout these LED strips as it's all on one strand. So I'm starting right here in this corner. I'm gonna guess if I throw one like every 2 strips or something like that, I'm going to get a much better looking output. The lights are now all hooked up to the power supply. I had to hook it up to about 4 different spots along the strip in order to even out the brightness and not have any weird color dimming or anything like that. But now I can operate all the LEDs at maximum brightness and still achieve an even color throughout. Next step is to take all of these wires, it's currently a little bit of a rat's nest, and start routing it cleanly so that it won't get in the way when I'm stomping all over this thing later. Now I have the LEDs in place with the wiring and all that. And this portion of the project ended up being a complete waste of time. The tiles did not look great, and so I had to spend hours sticking them on and then removing them and the glue they left behind. Anyway, let's finish up this video. I know I didn't get the whole thing done this time, but next video I will be finishing up the project, making sure it looks super awesome. I'm really excited to get this thing done, and I can't wait to show it to you. Anyway, I gotta get back to this project. I hope to see you in the next video. Don't forget to like this video if you did, subscribe if you'd like to see more, make sure you hit that bell if you don't want to miss out, and don't forget to leave a comment letting me know what you think. I'd love to hear from you, and I can't wait to see you next time. Bye.